Yo, how's it going everybody? It's Freeze here. Welcome to another one of my weapon reviews. This time it's not going to be a Vanu weapon, but the EM6 LMG for the heavy assault of the new conglomerate. With all the recent patches and hotfixes and of course all the complaints on the forums about ninja nerfs, I was afraid that all my previously recorded footage would be useless, but as it stands right now, no changes to this weapon have been confirmed, and the data on the available spreadsheets remains the same. But before we go into details concerning this gun, let me say something to my fellow Vanu players. If you're one of those douchebags that wear the giraffe camo, be prepared. You might accidentally get team killed a little bit more often now. No, seriously, the camo is just wrong. I never really had an issue when I played on my Vanu character, but strangely enough, it took me that split second longer to react when I played for the NC. So now I can kinda relate to it when people complain about it. But enough with the ranting, let's take a look at the available attachments for the EM6.
At first glance, everything points towards a mid to long range gun. You have access to high velocity ammo, which is a nice pick of every weapon. You can't really go wrong with it. Same goes for the barrel attachments. The compensator is pretty much a no-brainer in my book. Well, good thing I've picked it up. But especially for LMGs, the heavy assault isn't really a sneaky class, so showing up on the minimap isn't really a big deal to begin with. For optics, you can go up to a 6x scope, but it's preference. Pick whatever you feel comfortable with and what you feel fits your playstyle. For the rail, in my opinion, there's just one real option, and that's the forward grip. Extended mag, well, you already have a 100 round magazine. If that's not enough, then I don't know. Laser sight, well, if you really insist on it, but I'll talk about that later on. Now for the recoil. The EM6 has balanced horizontal recoil. Just take a look. It goes straight up and then jumps left, right. Some people might think now that it's easier to compensate for balanced horizontal recoil. I personally prefer a predictable recoil, and that's just not the case here. All you can do is pull the mouse straight down and then hope that the random number generator is on your side and your shots will go where you want them to. So compensating, pull straight down. But here's another problem. When you keep holding down the trigger and you compensate for the recoil, it's gonna look like that. It's a really long burst now. You see how much it jumps around? And we're just like 5 meters away from that wall here. The gun will jump by such a big amount that you'll have problems to hit the broadside of a barn, let alone a moving player. Burst fire is the name of the game. 15 round burst is pretty much the absolute maximum with this weapon.
The actual value for the recoil of the EM6 clocks in at 0.45 and the first shot recoil multiplier of times 1.5. This pretty much places this gun right in the middle when you compare it to similar weapons in this damage tier. What I mean by damage tier is the minimum and maximum damage your weapon does per shot. For LMGs we basically have 3 tiers. We have the 143 maximum damage, the 167 where you can find the EM6, and the 200 for the NC6 Gauss Saw. When you further compare it to other weapons in this category, you find a rather surprising number for an NC gun. The rate of fire clocks in at 600 rounds per minute, which is, tied with the Anchor, the fastest firing within this damage tier. No VS and not even a TR LMG can match the rate of fire combined with the damage the EM6 does. For the reload speed, it's not surprising that a 100 round magazine might take a little longer. With 4.32 seconds for the short and 5.4 seconds for the long reload, it's neither the fastest nor the slowest in this category. When I initially started my NC character, the LMG I wanted to use was the standard Gauss Saw. You read so much about how powerful it is on the forums, but also how big of a cert investment it is to make it viable. Because I bought the Alpha Squad package during beta, I had the EM6 available to me. My plan was to invest as little certs as possible in the EM6 and just save everything for the Ghost Saw. And then it turned out that the EM6 was extremely viable even with no attachments on it. I was really surprised about its performance. Although I must say that I really hated the iron sights. Some NC guns, in my opinion at least, have the best iron sights in the game. Sadly, the EM6 is not one of them. But what I was most surprised about was the versatility of the gun. It really can hold its ground at any engagement, be it extreme CQC or extreme long range. I'm not saying that this weapon is best at everything, not even in the slightest. There are weapons that will absolutely destroy you at close quarters, as well as some weapons that will drop you at range with even less problems. But you will never be stuck in a situation where you wish nothing more than an infantry terminal to swap weapons. Let's get more into detail though. For CQC, you may want to avoid hipfire as best as you can. In general, LMGs aren't really meant to hipfire guns, so unless you absolutely have to, always try to ADS. On top of the overall bad cone of fire when hipfiring LMGs, the EM6 is among the worst when looking at the exact numbers. To give you a comparison, even the battle rifles have better hipfire, not by much, but they do. Now when looking at medium and long range engagements, one value of the EM6 really stands out, but not in a good way. The bullet velocity is 570. That is not only the lowest value among all the LMGs in the game, it's also so low that you can practically throw this weapon in the carbine category because of it. Thankfully, high velocity ammo is available among the attachments. So even if I said before that you can make this gun work with a minimum amount of a certain investment, I strongly advise you to consider to pick it up. You can definitely make it work without, but it will certainly help you out. Leading targets can be a bitch sometimes. To sum up my impression of this weapon, if you're looking for a potent, overall good performing LMG in no matter what situation, then the EM6 is definitely worth a closer look, especially for a rather cheap price of only 250 certs. From the very beginning, without any additional certs spent on it, this gun can really shine against anything it might come up against. Every cert you spend will further increase this impression. Me, as a VS, I'd trade you our Flare or Ursa in a heartbeat, no questions asked. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comments if you like this weapon just as much as I do, or if you have a totally different opinion about it. Every argument is welcome. A rating is much appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Cheers guys.